Bloodlines control many things in our world. But even the strongest power does not always win when family matters get tricky. Nathaniel Croft was the ruler of the East Coast Covens. He faced a big problem that no amount of immortal strength could fix. His younger brother was getting married, and the woman who came to the wedding brought out secrets that had been hidden for 100 years. To regular people in the world, Nathaniel Croft seemed like a mystery. If you looked in magazines like Forbes or the Wall Street Journal, you might see a short note about his big company, Croft Holdings. You would not see his picture. Most people thought of him as a rich man who liked to stay alone. He owned a lot of buildings in Manhattan and lived in a big safe home in the Hudson Valley. But among the old and powerful immortal beings who wore fancy clothes and expensive jewelry, Nathaniel was the clear king of the eastern part of the country. He was a very old vampire with huge power. He kept peace between different groups by using money and strong force when needed. Even with all this strength, right now, Nathaniel stood by the big windows at his fancy office. He felt so worried that he almost wanted to walk into the sunlight. His younger brother Alaric was getting married. In the normal human world, a wedding means happy love. But for immortal families, a big royal wedding is like a game of chess with dangerous moves. Alaric was going to marry Camilla DuPont. She was the favorite daughter from the Southern Covens. This marriage was planned to join the two big parts of the country and stop years of small fights. The list of guests was full of proud people, old arguments, and tricky situations. But Nathaniel's biggest worry was not the guests. It was who would stand beside him. For 50 years, no one had been at his side in public events. His last important relationship was with Victoria Vanderwood. She was a strong and clever vampire who loved to climb higher in society. Their breakup long ago caused big damage in Chicago in the 1980s. Now Victoria was using Alaric's wedding to push Nathaniel. She told the council she would come with him, which would mean their families were joining again and she could become queen. If Nathaniel came alone, he would look weak. Victoria could then come close and trap him in front of everyone. If he brought someone from his own group, other nobles would fight and get jealous. He needed someone who was not part of their world at all. He needed a person who could not be bought, scared, or used in games. He needed a normal human, but not any human. He needed a human who was brave enough to stand in a room full of strong hunters without getting scared. He found her just 3 floors down from his office. Penelope Hayes was 26 years old. She was not a fashion model or a party girl. She worked as an archivist and helped fix old historical papers. Croft Holdings had hired her to organize a large new collection of old books and writings from Europe in the 1600s. When Nathaniel opened the heavy wooden doors to the big library, Penelope was sitting on the floor with her legs crossed. Her dark hair was in a messy bun held by a pencil. She wore an old, big Yale sweatshirt. Her hands were dirty with ink and dust. She was looking angrily at an old piece of paper. "Do you know how dangerous it is to put a very old first-edition book by Machiavelli next to a hot radiator?" Penelope said sharply without looking up. She thought it was just a young worker from the office. "If this old binding breaks, I am going to staple someone to the ceiling." Nathaniel leaned on the doorframe and crossed his arms. No one had talked to him like that since the time of the French Revolution. "I will ask the workers to make the room cooler," Nathaniel said. His voice was deep and smooth. Usually that voice made normal people feel weak and want to obey. Penelope finally looked up. She blinked behind her simple glasses. She did not look amazed or scared. She just looked a bit annoyed. "Who are you? You are not Jared from the Human Resources Office," she asked. "No," Nathaniel answered as he stepped into the soft light. "I am Nathaniel Croft." For a moment, the room was quiet. Most workers would have said sorry right away, but Penelope just gave a long, tired sigh. "Great, the big boss. Look, Mr. Croft, thank you for the good pay for my team. But the way you keep these old papers is bad for history. The air in the east side of the building changes too much, and it makes me feel sick," she said. Nathaniel felt one corner of his mouth move up in a small smile. She did not feel his special power that usually pulled humans to vampires. Most humans would feel strongly drawn to someone like him. Penelope just seemed unhappy that he stopped her work. "Miss Hayes," Nathaniel started, walking closer without making any sound, like a careful hunter. "I need your help for something more than sorting old papers." Penelope narrowed her eyes and slowly stood up. She brushed dust from her jeans. "If you want me to make a fake old land paper, the answer is no. I do not care how rich you are," she said. "I do not need fake papers," Nathaniel replied. "I need someone to come with me as a partner." He watched her face closely. "Tomorrow night I have to go to a special family event at Ohika Castle. It will be a difficult place. I need someone who is not connected to my world, who will not be scared by rich people, and who will not accept any silly behavior from others." Penelope looked at him like he had asked her to grow wings and fly. "You want me to pretend to be your date at a rich person's wedding?" she asked in a flat voice. "Mr. Croft, I have not slept for 2 days. I smell like old paper, and I do not want to play dress-up for a company trick. If you come with me, act as my caring partner for 6 hours, and get through the night without big problems, I will give $50 million to your historical group," Nathaniel said smoothly. "You will have all the money you need, the best machines to control temperature and air, and full freedom for your work for the rest of your life." Penelope stopped moving. The pencil in her hair fell to the floor. $50 million. That was more money than she could imagine. It could save many old treasures, pay for many trips to study them, and create the best library on the East Coast. She looked at Nathaniel. He stood very still. His pale eyes were hard to read. There was something risky about him that made her feel deep warning inside. But Penelope Hayes loved old and dangerous things. 6 hours, she said clearly. "Not 1 minute more," Nathaniel promised. "Okay," Penelope said, picking up her pencil. "But I will not wear shoes with heels higher than 3 inches. My feet hurt easily." It was a strong, bright smile that looked a little scary. "We have an agreement, Miss Hayes." The next afternoon, workers took Penelope to a beautiful room high in the building with no windows. A very elegant French woman named Madame Genevieve waited for her. Genevieve did not use measuring tapes. She just looked at Penelope carefully with sharp purple eyes. Her look stayed a bit long on the place where blood moves in Penelope's neck. "Interesting," Genevieve said softly while walking around her. The room felt cold, but the woman moved smoothly and quietly. "Your bones are normal. Your hair needs help. And yet the king picked you. There is something special in your blood, my dear. A bit of fire, a quiet strength." "It is probably just coffee and money I owe from school," Penelope answered in a dry way. "And please do not talk about my blood. That feels strange," she added. Genevieve laughed like breaking glass. In a few hours, Penelope's old sweatshirt was gone. She now wore a beautiful dark blue silk dress made just for her. The dress looked simple and nice, but fit perfectly, like it was made of liquid. It showed the soft line of her neck and shoulders. A big diamond necklace rested on her collarbone. When Penelope saw herself in the mirror, she looked like a different person. The tired look was gone. Her dark hair fell in nice waves. She looked like she belonged next to a king. "Remember," Genevieve whispered, her cold breath near Penelope's ear, "do not let them feel that you are afraid." At 6 o'clock, Nathaniel came. He wore a perfect black suit. When he entered the room, he stopped suddenly. For a short moment, the old king forgot to breathe. The funny archivist was gone. In her place was a woman with quiet strength and beauty that hit him hard. "You look very nice, Miss Hayes," Nathaniel said, hiding his surprise with a small smile. "You owe me extra money for this tight dress, Mr. Croft," Penelope answered quickly. But her breath caught a little when she saw him. He looked like a handsome but dangerous noble from an old story. The car ride to Oaxaca Castle on Long Island felt tight and nervous. Nathaniel sat in the corner of the special Rolls-Royce. Dark glass kept the drivers separate. "There are important rules for tonight," Nathaniel said. His voice changed from friendly businessman to something colder and heavier. "Listen carefully, Penelope. You must stay right next to me all the time. Do not go to the bathroom alone. Do not get a drink alone. Do not answer the phone alone. We must stay close." "That sounds very clingy," she joked to make the heavy feeling lighter. He did not smile. "I am serious," he said. "The people at this wedding have very old money. They are tough. They will see you as a weak spot they can use against me. If anyone offers you food or drink, say no. If someone wants to dance, look at me first. And if a woman named Victoria Vanderwood comes near you, do not let her touch your skin. Do you understand?" Penelope felt a real cold feeling down her back. The way he spoke sounded like real danger, not just words. "What kind of family do you really come from, Nathaniel?" she asked. "The kind that bites," he answered softly. When the big car stopped at the huge castle, the party looked amazing. Beautiful gardens were lit by many floating candles. The guests were very beautiful, and moved in a smooth, almost unreal way. There was no loud laughing or talking, only quiet voices and a smell of rich perfume mixed with something sharp, like metal. Nathaniel stepped out first and held out his hand. When Penelope put her fingers in his, she noticed his skin felt ice cold. As they walked up the big steps into the main hall, everything changed. The music from the string players seemed to pause. Hundreds of perfect faces turned to look at them. The room became very quiet. Penelope held her head high and held Nathaniel's arm tightly. She felt all the eyes on her. It was not just looking, it felt like hungry watching. Some eyes glowed in the soft light. Penelope finally understood the scary truth. These were vampires. Her boss was a vampire, and she was a human in a room full of them. Her heart beat very fast. A soft hissing sound moved through the crowd as they heard and smelled her blood. Nathaniel moved a little in front of her. He let his strong power fill the room without words. The air felt heavy. Many guests stepped back and looked down. The message was clear. "She is with me. Stay away." "Breathe, Penelope," Nathaniel said very quietly, so only she could hear. "You are doing great." Before they could walk more, the crowd opened. A very beautiful woman in a bright red dress walked toward them. Her blonde hair was perfect, and her lips were deep red. It was Victoria Vanderwood. "Nathaniel, my dear," Victoria said in a sweet but mean voice. She did not even look at Penelope. "I thought you would stay hiding in your big house all night. You almost missed your brother's promises." "I am right on time, as always," Nathaniel answered coldly. Victoria finally looked at Penelope with clear dislike. "And who is this small, short-lived thing? A little treat for after the party? Really, Nathaniel, bringing food to a royal wedding is rude." Penelope's fear disappeared fast. Instead, she felt strong anger from her city roots. "Actually," Penelope said loudly and clearly so everyone heard, "I am his date. I would like it if you did not talk about me like I am a small snack. Though looking at that dress, I understand why you like quick bites." Everyone around them gasped. No one talked to Victoria like that. Nathaniel coughed to hide a laugh. He held Penelope's waist tighter with pride. Victoria's eyes turned angry red. She stepped closer with her teeth showing. "You rude little human," she started. "Victoria, stop!" a strong voice called across the hall. The crowd moved again. The father of the bride, Lord Armand Dupont, came forward. He was tall with silver hair and looked like the boss. "There will be no fighting before the ceremony. It brings bad luck." Lord Dupont sent Victoria away. He turned to Nathaniel with a careful smile. "Nathaniel, welcome. We are happy you came. Armand, Nathaniel said with respect. He started to introduce Penelope, but Lord Armand stopped. His smile disappeared. He stared hard at Penelope's face, her eyes, her cheeks, and the old silver locket she wore under the diamonds. It was a family treasure she never removed. All color left the old vampire's face. He stepped back. The glass of red liquid in his hand fell and broke on the floor. He was not looking at a normal human guest. He was looking at someone from the past. Isolde, Lord Dupont whispered. His voice shook with fear and wonder. The name filled the quiet room. But we burned you to ashes 300 years ago. The trouble did not explode right away. It spread slowly like cold air. The music stopped. The powerful guests held their breath. Their eyes moved between Lord Dupont and the human woman next to the king. Penelope stepped back a little. Her hand touched the old locket. It had been in her family for many generations. Experts once wanted to study it, but her mother said no. I do not know who Isolde is, Penelope said, keeping her voice steady even though her heart was racing. My name is Penelope Hayes. Lies, Victoria hissed, coming closer. Look at her face, Armand. Look at the smell of her blood. It is a trick. Nathaniel brought a magic user to ruin the joining of families. Be quiet, Victoria, Nathaniel ordered. His voice was not loud, but it made the lights shake. He moved to cover Penelope completely. His eyes turned deep black. Armand, explain now, he said. The old lord was still shaking. He pointed at the locket. That necklace has the mark of the old Habsburg magic people. 300 years ago, a human woman named Isolde controlled the southern lands. She was not a vampire but an alchemist. She understood the secret of our long life. We thought she was too dangerous, so we burned her in Charleston and removed her family from stories. Clearly we missed one, he said. Penelope muttered, You missed a spot, using her sharp humor to stay calm. Nathaniel's thoughts moved fast. Now he understood why Penelope was not affected by his power in the library, why her heart did not race near him, why her blood smelled special. She was the last living family member of the person who first understood their world. She is a danger, Victoria shouted, trying to get others to agree. By old rules, anyone from Isolde's line must be removed. The crowd started to move closer. Teeth showed in the light. Hunger turned to real thirst for blood. Anyone who steps toward her will lose their head, Nathaniel said clearly. He did not need a weapon. His power made the air heavy, and even strong vampires paused. But Penelope did not want to hide. Her mind as a researcher was putting pieces together fast. Wait, she said, stepping out. She ignored Nathaniel's warning sound and looked straight at Lord Armand. You mentioned the Habsburg occultists. You mean the secret writings from 1648, right? Armand looked surprised. How do you know about those texts? Because I spent the last 3 days translating them for Croft Holdings, Penelope answered with growing confidence. And if you had read the real old papers instead of burning people, you would know Isolde did not only understand your weaknesses, she wrote the first ownership papers for the southern groups. The whole room went completely quiet. Penelope turned to Nathaniel. Her eyes were bright with slot fire. The old writings you paid me to fix, the ones from the big sale last month, are not just history. They are strong magic agreements. According to what I translated and sent to your office this morning, the southern territories were never fully given to the Dupont family. Armand looked pale. That cannot be. Penelope touched her locket. According to the blood mark on those papers, the true owner of the southern covens is the direct family of the first alchemist. That means, Lord Dupont, you do not own the South. I do. The silence after her words was so deep you could hear the candles. Victoria laughed in disbelief. You want us to believe a normal bookworker rules half the country. Armand, finish her. But Armand did not attack. He slowly went down to his knees. My lady, he whispered, bowing his head. One by one, the southern nobles knelt too. Hundreds of powerful beings bowed to a young woman in a nice dress. Victoria was breathing fast and looked lost. Her plan had failed badly. "Stand up," Victoria yelled. "She is just a weak human. I will not bow." She jumped forward fast with claws out toward Penelope's neck. She did not reach her. Nathaniel moved like lightning and grabbed her by the throat. He lifted her high with one hand. The floor under him cracked from the power. "I warned you, Victoria," he said in a deep, shaking voice that moved the walls. "You do not touch what is mine." With a quick move, he threw her across the room. She broke a big old table into pieces and lay there hurt. Nathaniel calmly fixed his clothes. He looked at the kneeling lord. "The wedding will continue. Alaric will marry Camilla and join the families. But the rules are different now. The southern groups will answer to Penelope. And because she is under my care, the east and south are now one under single rule." He turned to Penelope and offered his arm. His eyes were warm. "Shall we take our seats, Miss Hayes? We have a wedding to watch." Penelope looked at his hand. Her heart beat fast, not from fear, but from the exciting new feeling. She had not only lived through a room of vampires, she had won over them. The king was not seeing her as a tool anymore. He saw her as an equal. She took his hand. "You know, Mr. Croft, my payment just got higher," she said. Nathaniel gave a real, warm smile. "I will pay anything you ask, Penelope." The rest of the night felt like a dream. The wedding of Alaric and Camilla happened beautifully, but everything had changed. People who once looked at Penelope with hunger now treated her with great respect. They offered her drinks and bowed. Later that night, after the promises and special drinks, Nathaniel took Penelope to a big balcony overlooking the dark gardens. The cool air felt good after the crowded hall. $50 million, Nathaniel said softly. "That was our agreement. The money will go to your group by morning." Penelope looked out at the big land. Her whole life had changed in 6 hours. She had power and money she never dreamed of. But looking at Nathaniel in the moonlight, she knew the money was not the most important thing anymore. "I have a different idea," she said, turning to him. Nathaniel raised an eyebrow. "I am listening." "Keep the 50 million, Penelope said, stepping closer. The feeling between them was strong. "Instead, I want full access to the secret old collections in your places in Europe. I want to study the real history of your people, and I want a real date. No pretending, no business deal, just you and me." Nathaniel looked at her lips. The cold around his heart melted because of this brave human woman. "I think, Miss Hayes," he said softly, pulling her close, "that is the best agreement I have made in 1,000 years." When he kissed her, it was not cold like a hunter. It was warm and full of promise, like a king who had found his queen. The East and South came together, not by fighting or blood, but by a woman who would not be forgotten in history, and the immortal ruler who was completely captured by her. What began as a pretend date became a big discovery about family lines that changed the immortal world. History shows us that real power often comes from knowledge and courage, not just strength or money. Penelope reminds us that studying the past can change the present. Learning about old papers, family stories, and hidden truths helps us understand who we are and stand strong even when things feel scary. Everyone, young or old, can make a big difference by asking questions, reading carefully, and speaking up for what is right. This story teaches that bravery and smart thinking can bring people together and create better futures, even between very different worlds. Keep learning every day. It is the greatest power of all.